Hey, here's a different thought for you. Well, maybe it's a greater truth. Let me put it that way, a greater truth. Let's forget about the computer for a moment. What I want to tell you is this. When you've been through a living hell, and there are a lot of you that have been through a living hell on different levels, all you really want, and usually what you declare at the end of your life, is that you are at peace. Being the greatest lesson, being the greatest want, being the greatest need in your life. Now, let me point something out. I think they use the term, it's a bit smart, that they are the First Nations people. No. I'm not going to comment on that. But what I am going to say is this. They are not what I deem as the First Nation, and especially not the First Nations people, but let's skip past that for a moment. They are not just the First Nation, and I won't use that play on terms. I'm going to tell you that they are because they teach the most important survival skill today when looking at the entire world, and I'll expand on that statement in a moment. I see them as the first people. You understand what I'm saying? Because when we look on a global scale in this moment now, they are the absolutely most peaceful. They went through an absolute living hell in the same context that the people over there in South and North suffered. But here it was unspoken. Why was it unspoken? Because as the most peaceable people, they just continued on with their spiritual life. Each and every one of them individually continued with their spiritual life, which is peaceable. I know, I've experienced that, and I've experienced it on a number of lifetimes. Now let me add to that point of fact there. I forget what I was going to comment before expand on, but I think you got the gist of what I'm saying. Let me tell you this, and some people will agree that sometimes we can, in the next life, carry over some physical ailments or markings, etc. Some people have been hung and maybe having had their head taken off, not just during the hanging, but two different things and sometimes the same. And this life, they don't like neckties. Oh, I can't stand a necktie. And that's the hangman's sarcastic identification. Some of these physical attributes nowadays on internet TV, it just incredible, almost inhuman. Anyway, I'll try not to get attracted to that, distracted to that, by that. So what I'm going to say is this. We know that some scars are known to carry over into the next life. Okay, there would maybe be 50% or maybe 70% of people who are comfortable with understanding that, having heard it being a somewhat of a revelation. The penny drops. Yeah. So let me say this, that lifetime after lifetime, I've been a medicine man, primarily a medicine man, through being and becoming, also becoming a holy man through living a holy life in prayer, asking those loved ones in spirit and in the past lives, Great Spirit, Rainbow Spirit in the last life, to actually, many of you didn't know that, did you? That the last life, my God was the rainbow serpent. I was indigenous to Australia. I was an Australian Aboriginal with a capital A, not Aboriginal with a small a, which are the peoples in other countries, like Taiwan in the mountains, Russia in the mountains, and etc. Indigenous and Aboriginal with a small a. The Australian Aboriginal is with a capital A, the only one. A small recognition. They didn't fight for any greater recognition, and in general terms, in modern language, but it was always there for thousands and thousands of years. I believe 80,000 years they've been in Australia, having come across the ocean into Western Australia first. The Bradshaw paintings, 80,000 years old, and then further settlement throughout Australia during those thousands of years. I forgot what I was primarily going to give you a heads up on. But they definitely hold no greater medicine, a greater medicine than anyone in the world. And that medicine, that greatest medicine in the world, is to live the example of peace. They might be forced, but not for peace. When you are forced, you could be forced in any emotion, any direction of any emotion. And the emotion that they have chosen, and it is an emotion, it is the emotion of peace. Having suffered just as much, but not as advertised, let's call it, because it's only in the last 250 years, not in the last, let's say, 1,000 years or 500 years like Africa and the two states and etc., by the same, more or less the same peoples. But it has only been 250 years, and they suffered just as much. And I'm going to include not just the invasion, but also massacres, and less talked about by preferring to be at peace. If you lose a loved one, you are at peace. If you are warring over a loved one's loss, then you are revenging. Being very loud and outspoken about the past would be revengeful as well, and some other emotions, but certainly not aiming at the majority of emotion as peaceful. There were the Pueblo Indians who made a great statement, known for being the most peaceful Indians, and they still revolted as the peaceful Pueblo Indians with corded knots and etc. Corded knots that might have been created or extended upon instead of tattoos or a victory stick, a victory spear that had adornments on it from as souvenirs, so to speak. The Pueblo Indians might have had some sort of medals or honors designated by the corded knots, which they extended upon to become corded knot messages amongst each other. They could have. I'm only saying that as a suggestion. A lot of the history of the American Indians was wiped out. It's up to some of the shaman, medicine men, holy men to bring out that information. I am a blood brother to a major Navajo chief locally here who approached me. Far from my thoughts, and I'm not going to regard that as some sort of tool to be able to speak on behalf of those people. Not in any way, by any means. I am Mick Cox. I was given, long before meeting the fellow, Major Chief, Navajo Chief, I was given an American Indian name by my first guide, actually my second guide I'm realising right now, who was Nick Black Elk, who brought the four directions to the Americas, the American Indian red race, the red race of America. And I've mentioned it before, I have the Holy Grail of Science, which revolves around four lines which span from our sun out into our solar system and affect our Earth as we orbit through it. And when we aren't orbiting through it, summer and winter, and the four king tides, four metallic planets, four giant gas planets, and four large dwarf planets, which early science discovered with glass lens telescopes, thanks to Galileo Galilei. And then after him, Newton, only 12 months after him. So there is some carryover that comes into the next life. Scars I mentioned, focus on parts of the mind to become medicine men and connections with as a holy man and etc. All of those things are a carryover into the next life. Now let me tell you that peace is also one of those characteristics that are carried over into the next life. A far greater job to lead by example as a peaceful person than to make the statements of four directions or etc. So after Nick Black Elk, there was about a 14-year gap, 15-year gap. So he went in 50 something. I was born in 60. So but I believe I might have been born as an Aboriginal with quite some stature. I have always been very responsible early in life, and so maybe, just maybe, that Aboriginal underwent the knocking out of the teeth through a jealous chief. And I know that in this life, I tremble when I sit in an optometrist chair thinking that I'm at the dentist. Well, I had done. So anyway, I really did forget what I was going to talk about as a carryover energy into this life. It wasn't my particulars, it wasn't the particulars of peace, but maybe, just maybe, it'll come back to me and there'll be a second video, a video extension on this. Man, I sat down here with the intention, with that one intention of telling you that one particular thing, and some statements prior to that I've already done. What was that one carryover character or element of my life or people's lives that I was going to bring to your attention? Hopefully I'll think of it soon. So the Aboriginals are, I believe, the original race. I believe that, let me make an obvious statement. I said that they came from Africa across to Australia into Western Australia as the Bradshaw people 80,000 years ago. But let me point out, what type of person would have left Africa not knowing what was across the ocean, thinking maybe it was just over the horizon, the curve of 22 miles, they might see new lands. Having been ostracized, maybe, from Africa. Some of the traits that used to be there with the Aboriginals, the early whites referred to them as witch doctors because they were into hypnotic type things. Gumbunji was a great example of a Aboriginal featherfoot man who is recorded as using hypnotism, especially on a police officer that tracked him down, wanting his hide, and that police officer was said to have been left motionless in that final location. Yeah, I don't want to speak about those actions. So let me also point out that it's a proven fact that the American Indians came down from Hawaiian Islands down through the Pacific, what we call the Pacific Islands now, I think, and settled in islands like Tonga, Suva, Fiji, and eventually New Zealand. Well-known fact, because the New Zealand people, Maori, have a lot of the same rituals, especially burying their dead in the fetal position, taught to me by a Maori. He introduced himself as a Maori holy man, medicine man, psychic medium, etc., and spirit artist. The most incredible artist I ever saw in my life, but not that I've seen a great deal, but let's leave it at that. So anyways, There were different personalities eventuated on each of the islands as they migrated down further and further. Maybe, just maybe, when they settled in the most northern islands, there must have been some fairly strong opposition when they came to Norfolk Island, because there's still a strong original settlement of fair-skinned people there, who speak Pecan. And anyhow, there are different personalities in all of the islands, etc. So again, the Australian Aboriginal with a capital A, I see as the most peaceable race in this present time. And I can tell you that it was because I didn't learn a great deal when I was a medicine man here, practicing as an American Indian shaman, or a shaman in Australia, shamanic practices, herbs and etc. I said a long time ago that everything is medicine, and the phone not ringing can be bad medicine for a while. But most certainly the Australian Aboriginal has adapted to learn new medicine skills using new products, and still using the old native, natural medicines, herbs, and what they didn't call herbs, but certain trees and stuff. When they say a certain tree or a tree, it's a translated description. It is the equivalent of that tree or a particular medicine tree, or a tree that gives medicine, etc., all in different types of terms, is equivalent to medicinal herbs, the statement of medicinal herbs. I tried to go to Thailand and go into the jungles to see, I expected to see monkeys and tigers and stuff like that when I rode the elephants, but didn't even see a zebra finch in the jungle. That was 25 years ago, 27, 28 years ago. And they had a particular problem with hepatitis in the dung mounds, and they cured it by growing lemon trees and squishing the lemon's juice on the dung. When I go like that, I imagine it wasn't that big. I imagine they would have dug holes and things, but hepatitis was in the area around it, maybe in the runoff of water, etc. Ooh, we shouldn't think about that, should we? Anyhow, it's life. It's all life. And I didn't get to meet a medicine man. I worked with a chap who said his wife was into medicines gathered from the Thailand jungles, and I expected to see that walking through, but all I saw, and maybe they didn't want to speak to me. Of course they wouldn't have wanted to speak to me. All I saw was people smoking small pipes in the jungle as they walked past. Hey, that was yeah. Like the time I was on the bus in England for a guided tour, and um, being an outdoorist here in Australia and enjoying the mundane sightings of kangaroos and etc., I was on the bus and the tour guide was talking about the central, not the Central Park, but the park, Hyde Park, I think it was, in England, in the heart of the city, and said if you just look out your window to the right, and Mick actually jumped out of the seat and yelled out, "There's a squirrel!" Oh my God, the poor people sitting on that bus. I was still standing there 30 seconds later, pointing with a big smile on my face, but there were a lot of Americans there. And I guess they would have said, hey, I admit they aren't red squirrels. I do admit they aren't red squirrels. But anyway, squirrels were cute to me, especially on that first sighting. There you go. That was, 27, 28 years ago. And I still am that today. Obviously proud of it. Well, at times I'm embarrassed. But anyhow, let's forget that. The Holy Grail of Science is my publication, authored only by me, Mick Cox, as my pen name. One excerpt, half a page of the book, talks about rainbows being magnetic, and rainbows are magnetic by Mick Cox is the term which is trademarked under my name, with the registration under my not under my pen name, but under my actual name, Michael David Cox, to this address. And so I'm busting a gut at the moment to try and get a show on the road where I'm going to reveal some further facts, one at a time, one at each show, of rainbows. Rainbows only run north to south, with 40 Facts by Mick Cox on YouTube is my video, but the show is going to be much, much more. I might even kick off here locally. I'm actually thinking of going and approaching the Aboriginal people in Slacks Creek to use their hall and to allow maybe a very reduced price for the show to the Indigenous people, to the Aboriginal people of Australia. Somebody might like to fly in from Sydney who's Aboriginal and experience the show. It's going to be mediumship for an hour. It's going to be a break with a great meal that I will cook, some Italian pastas, and I'll have to make one of those a vegetarian pasta as well, although I don't cook. I think I know how. I'm going to use pumpkin soup made by me, and I make a great white sauce, let me tell you. So it'll be, okay, let's not get into that any further. It'll be spicy, as a spicier meatball, but a vegetarian meatball, you know? I've always felt, all my life, Italian cooking has been the greatest for me. I love to, I don't like to sit there and pick at food, you know? I don't like seafood. You got to pull it all to pieces before you can put it in the mouth and enjoy it. It is good. I worked at a prawn farm recently. Man, those prawns were tasty. Nothing like the very, very, very early first farm prawns that I said were so soft. But somebody pointed out recently that they were probably winter prawns, which have a very soft shell. I think that's what the lovely lady said at the fish show down there at Loganholme. Anyways, those prawns were very, very tasty. And I'm really glad that we weren't allowed to eat them while we were processing them live. Wow, what man? That was just a great experience, I tell you. A great, what would those chefs call it? The chefs on show. A great something experience. It wasn't. Look, if I was ever going to have a daughter, I'd have to name her Ella, so that I could build her a pie cart, and it would be Ella cart. Hey, I've had some good meals at pie carts, especially out Alderley Way, the chap that was there 30 years ago. I think I stopped there every Saturday for a pie from him. Great pies, and then there was another seafood cart next to him and stuff, near Shan Street Park. Off Shan Street, but near Shan Street Park, more or less across the road from it. Hey, my favourite pie is down the road at Compton Road. I was expressing a couple of my mundane thoughts to him about my cooking process, only about white sauce and crap, but and he told me some ideas that he had been toying around with, and they married the thoughts, the suggestions married together, and he's a great chef or cook, etc. I just love his pie. I enjoy Yatala as well, living just down the road from it. But the chili garlic beef pie, ooh, he just gets it at the right temperature. I tell you, it's flavoursome. Yeah, he was expressing that he had some new ideas coming up that he was going to follow with, and I made a suggestion, more of in a mechanical sense, I guess. Of a device that I use. Anyhow, like a food processor, and he said, yeah, it's probably a good idea, but anyway, I'm not going to steal any thunder from him with his recipes that are already there, and I'm really looking forward to some new exciting recipes from him, and I'm sure he didn't divulge anything to me that's going to be his surprises. I can see that man really, really doing well. Pies are all about pastry. So are so many other dessert things. But a pastry chef who was a demolition man, Irish demolition man, who held the license for a particular family who did demolition, who operated off his license. That pastry chef told me that the greatest secret to any pie is in the pastry. And later I found out that it was due to the amount of sugar that they put in it. But I'm pretty sure they don't use a great deal of sugar nowadays. They use other flavours like chili garlic and stuff like that. That's not the only great pie that fella has, but there are others. I suggested that because Yatala pie have a greater variation of nations that eat there, being so incredibly popular, that maybe they should start catering for vegans or vegetarians with lentil pies or something like that. But afterwards I thought, that's probably a bit of a lame idea. Yeah. Anyway, vegan products, especially cheeses, are expensive. Well, they were the last time I looked. Hey, how did we get on to the subject of pies? Go the Pies. That would be a good name for a pie shop. Go the Pies, a la carte would be their mobile version. Anyhow, somebody I saw recently had a private plate that related to their pie shop. And I think that it was being suggested to them that they go mobile, that they get out of the kitchen after cooking and jump into the pie cart, fuel up some more on some super stuff, and get out and about in the day to enjoy the outdoors, or even just the general public in a pie cart. So anyway, I won't say which pie shop it was. I'm a bit of a pie connoisseur, but more so than that, I am absolutely positively a water connoisseur. I love and enjoy a good water. I want to find the original well of this area in the Bluestone, which is said to be an extremely pure, uncontaminated water. Someone's house that I air conditioned told me about that. It's a well halfway between Brisbane and the Gold Coast, apparently, somewhere around this area. I don't think it's an urban myth. And also I saw some thing on social media the other day about a area of Logan with lots of, I think they were particular American military or wartime based memorials and grave sites in the area of Yarrabilba. Go to my Facebook page, Mick Cox, Bean Lee, Facebook, the good looking chap with the black suit and golden bolo, a gold eagle bolo. That was one only time I ever put that on. And the Happy Snappy was taken by a very dear friend of mine, still with us, of course. So, hey, look at this. Here's something for you. Just a couple of minutes in my day. This is a screw top lid storage container that I intend to take camping with me. I put some olive oil on the screw part, and I intend to put a plastic bag in there and tie it up just like I do with doggy bags. And I'm going to have some pieces of wood under here to keep it stable on there, to fit per se the drum. And of course, just like you do with the doggy do, keep it in the plastic bag, tie it up, double bag it. Sometimes I triple bag the doggy do, and doggy do is definitely more potent, more dangerous, full of more bacteria, a worse bacteria than human feces. So anyway, that's it there. Look, there's some, oh no it isn't, it's just some personal items of mine. I bet you were turning away as I put that there. Anyhow, and on goes the lid after everything's in there, using white bags, of course, so that it's less embarrassing to passerbys. And I think I'm going to paint this. Look, this is a soft close toilet lid from on special at Bunnings for $24.95. It's just an unbelievable bargain. And let me tell you, let me educate you on soft close toilet seats. Yeah, let me educate you on soft close toilet seats. The key to a soft close toilet seat is the soft close toilet hinge. I only bought this in last night from the car, so everything like that doesn't sit on my dining table all the time. And so there are pins, if you can see it, that go on the toilet seat as a hinge. And these barrels are these soft close. The pin goes in the hole. This barrel hinge, let's call it, soft close barrel hinge, can be tightened when they stop closing softly. They can be adjusted, readjusted. But if you have to, you could. I was thinking, if it's ongoing, to save your soft close lid. Now, what other key is to a soft close toilet seat lasting for a long time is the weight of the material of the soft close lid. Some soft close toilet seats are very, very thick, condensed, heavy, and that's substantiates, I guess, some of the higher prices. But these are very easy to do. You simply place that barrel when you put it together into this this hole here, and then it fits it fits in the lid there. Look, you don't have to put the lid on. You can leave it as a toilet seat, but I think hygienically, maybe legally, you have to put the lid on a toilet seat. So guys really are the only people that are using toilets in accordance to the law by putting the lid down. Yeah. I'm a lid down type person, always have been. And these barrel hinges are the soft close device. There are other soft close devices and different hinges you can buy as accessories. Go online and see the toilet seat shops, plural, that are there. My favourite place, AliExpress, sells those barrel soft close hinges, and I'm yet to find out whether they're available in different sizes. My God, 42 minutes from talking about the first people to talking about toilet seats. I'm looking forward to going for a drive out west. In particular, I want to get to Quilpie or Charleville, and maybe go north to Longreach to see the Hall of Fame. Nature calls. I'm not using this seat today. I've got to go for a run and do a standing ovation up there on the next level of this house. I haven't finished the ground floor disability bathroom yet, but this is Mick Cox signing off from Betty House Disability. I've just about got one room finished. It would be finished except that the adjoining disability orientated bathroom isn't finished, and I've got some really great plans for the floor. I'm going to use, because it needs to be raised by 50 mil, I'm going to use 50 mil to match with the floor nearby. We want some fall there, so it'll be 50 mil in the doorways, the two adjoining doorways, and I'm going to use large concrete pavers left over to raise it that 50 mil, and they will be on standoffs of 10 mil close to the other doorways, and down to just simply 40 mil paver closer to the actual shower area tray itself. The shower tray will consist of pavers as well, raised up by 25 mil lip or 40 mil lip as the edge of the tray, 1200 by 1200. And I'm going to put them in place, just sit them in place with let's say 5mm gaps between the pavers, and I'm going to pour a very high MPa self-leveling compound, very liquefied over the whole lot so that it falls between the pavers, fills the gap underneath the pavers, and etc. And when it's a very smooth finish, I'm going to trowel some white, maybe just maybe some very liquefied polymer, which is very rubbery, straight over the top. It will self-level if I make it very runny by using shellite. So it will only smell, and then maybe, just maybe, I don't think I could do that. I think it would have to be a solid plastic type, maybe a 2-pack paint with A and B and a hardener, available at some of the paint shops in 20-litre drums, and it'll be white and then a clear over the top, and the clear was going to have some secretive thing in it that says Betty House. Anyhow, all falling to the 1200 by 1200 shower tray or shower area with a 50-to-1 or 100-to-1 fall on it. Anyhow, that's all going to be exciting. It's going to be an electric flush toilet with all of the piping of the flush inside the wall and up outside with a good size drop fall on it. And it should be a high pressure into the toilet for a period of 3 litres and another period of 6 litres, half and full flush. Let's keep it in the guidelines. So anyway, that's exciting. It's all going to come together soon. It's got a massive window that's going to be changed from glass to acrylic, and maybe outside of that, an electric tint that you can switch on and off at the wall. Most certainly mirror on the plastic, on the carbon, polycarbonate, a mirror, one-way mirror, reflective, a light outside that might do the job, but if it doesn't, some electric tint on a glass outside. Anyway, I got to go. I'll see you later, folks. Have a great day.